we should do whatever it takes every day, right? However, I do like dedicating one day of the week just to remind ourselves about doing whatever it takes. My name is Victoria Huff. I am the founder of The Happy Executive. We help companies on a fractional basis improve their sales and marketing by implementing strategies and tools that can make a difference to make sure they're building revenue and maximizing their profits. Today, what I'd like to talk to you about are some actionable strategies that you can use to stand up and really be seen and heard in the sea of sometimes what we, right? Now, the thing that I want you to remember is whatever it is that you're selling, whether it be a product or a service, there is no one else in the world that is going to present it as you do. And I feel that if we get sometimes down on ourselves, we're not patting ourselves on the back, we're kind of, maybe a little bit down in the dumps, or perhaps we're dwelling on a disappointment, then we can lose ourselves in that sea of sameness, and that is not fun, and that is not a place to be. All right, now I can relate because I have been there. If you sometimes catch yourself feeling like that, or maybe if you have felt like that recently, the reason why I'm doing this is because I've talked to quite a few people lately that are not seeing the strengths in themselves. Other people are seeing their strengths. I can see their strengths. However, they're not seeing their strengths. And, in the busy world that we live in, it's super important that we take responsibility to remind ourselves why we are unique and why we are passionate and doing the things that we're doing. Like I said, whether you're selling a service or a product, no one is going to present it and deliver the level of service in the way that you would do. And again, because of the world that we live in and how busy it gets sometimes, we're focusing on other people and we're not recognizing and really valuing the strengths that we have, and the passions, and why we're really committed to doing what it is we do. So I actually just did this exercise with a mastermind that I host, and I thought, I'm gonna share it with everyone here on my live show today as well, because I feel that it can help you. And I truly believe there are a couple people out there today that really need this. Okay. So the first question is, I'm going to ask you, well, first of all, you need get a blank sheet of paper and a pen or a pencil. All right. We're going to actually write this down. Don't type it in your phone, but I'm going to have you take a picture of it. I want you to write it down. All right. So the first question is, please write down your top 3 strengths. Okay. Top 3 strengths. Please write those down. I'll give you a minute. I know we have to kind of move through this. And then if you have questions, certainly put them in the comments or send me a DM. All right. So The first question is, please write down your top 3 strengths. If you have more than those, great, write those down. Whatever comes to your mind, write down. Don't overthink it. Okay? And I know because I've had my share of times of questioning myself and overthinking things. So I can relate if you're there. All right. The next question. Please write down what you're passionate about. Okay? You may have one thing you're passionate about, may have multiple things. Write down what you're passionate about. It could be about, helping people develop it could be helping people develop their mindset. It could be helping people 10x their revenue so that they can execute their exit strategy. Whatever you're passionate about. And a lot of time, if you're sometimes we get kind of stuck and then we're spinning, or we don't know really. Sometimes we might find ourselves like, what are we even doing? But a lot of times our passions stem from some problems that we have had in the past, or perhaps some obstacles, some challenges. And what I found is a lot of times as we overcome those, we figure out a way to get around those. Then, of course, that ignites the passion, the fuel in us, so that if we did it for ourselves, we can certainly do it for others. Right? So write down your passions. The first question was, write down your top 3 strengths. Or if you have more than that, write those down. Second question is, what are you passionate about? And just allow yourself, the pen or the pencil to the paper, just allow yourself to free write what you're passionate about. Third question, which audience do you serve? Perhaps you already have a well-defined niche. Perhaps you're still trying to figure out what that niche is. But for purposes of this exercise, choose one niche. Okay. So, perhaps it is medical, uh, perhaps it's medical companies. Okay. Maybe you are serving medical companies. Pick one niche, and then I would like you to write 2 or 3 sentences on why you are the best person to serve that niche. Okay. And again, I realized when I just did this exercise with my mastermind, there were some that were still trying to figure out their niche. There were some that had, 2 niches, or they were testing different things. It doesn't matter. But for this exercise, choose one and answer the question, which is, write 2 or 3 sentences on why you're the best person to serve that niche. Okay. And if you are like scratching your head thinking, I don't even know who I serve, that's okay. But then look at it from from the perspective of, who is it that you would like to serve? Okay. And then write 2 or 3 sentences about that. 2 or 3 sentences why why you are the best person to serve that niche. Okay. Now, I know that some of you are struggling with this. Okay. And that's okay, because it's, sometimes our biggest challenges, our biggest struggles turn into be our meaningful learning lessons. I think we've all heard the phrase of, into a message. or a story. So what what I find is very helpful when people go through this exercise is, first of all, it reminds you to pat yourself on your back, because in the busy world that we live in, a lot of us, because we are focused, like I was saying earlier, on, in a lot of cases, everybody else, we need to remind ourselves why we're here. And I feel that, when we refer to, my dog agrees. When when if we have a tendency to get lost in groups, I have had a tendency to get lost in groups before. Uh, Hold on, I think I better shut my door. Okay, so if we have a tendency to get lost in groups, then we're losing sight of why we're here, and why perhaps we even decided to start a company, to sell a service, to sell a product, right? And that is obviously, that is not a good place to be. I mean, we all go through these ebbs and flows, right? uh it's not difficult to sometimes find ourselves dwelling, in disappointment, or perhaps, we are looking at where we are and comparing that to where we want to be. And sometimes, we can catch ourselves dwelling on that disappointment. But what I don't want you to do is to lose sight of your strengths and your passions, and why you started doing what you're doing now. Why did you decide to do that? Obviously it was a passion. It was a skill set. Perhaps you are a known problem solver, solution provider. Perhaps you're a great connector, relationship builder. Don't lose sight, and most importantly, don't overlook those strengths. Because again, I've heard a lot of people feel that, or say that they feel that they are in, trying to swim in a sea of sameness. And the reality is, I'm here to tell you today that you are not the same. And we all have some unique strengths that, as I said in the beginning, that we offer to our clients and to our colleagues. So no one else can say exactly, can say the same thing that you are seeking to say or convey, right? Everyone is going to say it in their own unique way. And a mentor of mine, made this statement, and it really connected with me. It really hit home. And she said, everything in the world has pretty much all been said before, right? However, what's unique and what's different is the way that you interpret it and the way that you approach it. That's going to make the biggest difference. So, we definitely don't want to lose sight of that. And as a matter of fact, we want to make sure that instead of losing sight, that we actually recognize, recognize our strengths, our passions, and why we're here. Because if you are not standing up and standing out, and really going after that market, that niche client that you are seeking to serve, then who will? And I truly believe, it's up to each one of us. It's our responsibilities to remind ourselves about it. Now, look, it's absolutely lovely and rewarding when we gather feedback. And I'm going to encourage you to make sure that you are gathering feedback on a regular basis. Now that means you have to be open to hear it. All right. Sometimes it may not be the best feedback, but a lot of times it will be really good feedback. And I have found that capturing that feedback, if you can put it in a separate folder, then you can refer back to that. That's going to help you too with your confidence. That's going to help you, if maybe you lost a sale, or, maybe you had some disappointment, you didn't get that next level up that you were seeking, whatever it is, that folder. And I'd like you to, if you don't have one, I'd like you to start uh, a that a girl folder, or that a boy folder, or whatever you want to name it. Okay. Your folder of accomplishments. And because when I was at AT&T, my boss had encouraged me to start a that a girl folder. Now, my boss knew that I was learning to be more extroverted. I really didn't like talking about myself that much. I mean, I learned that what I needed to do, but it was a process over several years of me getting used to stating my accomplishments and feeling good about it, because a lot of us grew up uh, in a particular time when when talking about ourselves was more like bragging, right? And sometimes it was even discussed at school. And so that became very apparent to me that I couldn't keep my accomplishments quiet, though. When I was in my senior year, my fourth year of college and undergrad, I had the best counselor, and she was getting me ready for job interviews. And she knew that I would hedge around doing the role plays, and I tried to get out of it, or I try to change the subject when it came to talking about my accomplishments. Of course, I had a resume, but she had a very candid discussion with me one day, sitting across the desk, and she said, Victoria, if you don't speak up and let the job interviewers, let those potential bosses know what you accomplished, then someone else will speak up, and that someone else will get hired and you won't. And at that time, that was what I needed to hear. And it's the same in today's world, regardless of if you're selling a service, like I said, if it's your own business or you're working for someone else, no one is going to present it in the way that you do. So you need to remind yourself of those accolades, those wins, and really, savor in them, be grateful for them. And then of course, the losses, we can learn from those. But I'm going to encourage you to start a folder if you don't already have this. And your folder of accomplishments, or that a girl, or that a boy. And then when you have some like down times or fleeting moments of like you're a little bit discouraged, your confidence is low, refer to that folder. Okay. But for today's purpose of the exercise, I'd like you to take a picture of the sheet of paper that you wrote down for your strengths and your passions, and also those key sentences, the 2 to 3 sentences on why you're the best person to serve that niche. Okay. So take a picture of that white piece of paper and store it in your phone. I like to put a lot of things, I mean, there are lots of apps that you can organize things like Evernote and PDF and all that, but I usually just put mine in notes. I have an iPhone, so I'm sure there's probably something equivalent with Androids. But put that in your notes folder, and we're going to build on that because I will do another segment on this. I may do I may even do a workshop on this because I feel that a lot of people just kind of glaze over what they've accomplished. And then instead of, you know, being able to rise up and serve more, sometimes they feel lost, like I said, in that sea of sameness. It's almost like they're giving up, and we don't want that. Okay, that is not what I want for you. I want you to be able to clearly articulate your strengths, to clearly state your passions, and be able to, with confidence, come up with 2 to 3 statements on why you are the best to serve that particular niche. And in closing, here's a bonus assignment, a bonus action step that you can do. Think about some stories of your strengths, that really clearly like exemplify your strengths. And a lot of these stories can come from feedback that you have received from other clients or colleagues. And so if you choose to do this bonus challenge, just give it some thought, or perhaps even if you are courageous, you can even ask some people for feedback. And and really start collecting that, because like I said earlier, it will help you when, if you're having a little bit of a down moment, or some disappointment, because it's really no one else's responsibility besides yours to be able to really with confidence pick yourself up. Now, it's wonderful and we all need support systems. However, it's really up to each one of us to make sure that we are advocating for ourselves, right? And it's like if we are in coaching. I do a lot of sales coaching. If we do not enroll ourselves in the program or in the curriculum that we're teaching, then how do we expect anyone else to enroll in our program? And so, you know, anything that you're seeking to teach, if you're doing a mastermind, if you're doing a workshop, the first person, the first student that you need to enroll is yourself. And I get it. Sometimes, like I said, if we have some disappointment, and sometimes that disappointment can come from other facets of our lives, like outside of business. It can be something going on with our family. It can be, I remember going through some really rough times when my mom was sick and when my dad was sick, several states away. That, even if we try to keep everything in perspective, that really does play a part in not only our happiness, but just, our focus, our concentration, right? So just know that you are truly not alone, that we all go through these times when, we're questioning even our abilities. We're questioning, can we do this? Should we be doing this? And you will find so much freedom And I believe that you will be happier if you step up and stand out and be like, yes, I'm going to take responsibility for reminding myself, why I even got into this business and why people should want to do business with me, or why people should want to enroll in my coaching program, right? So the first person, the first student, the first client that you need to enroll in your program is you. And then once you enroll yourself, then you need to make sure that you have the tools in place to remind yourself why you're doing that and remind yourself of the passions. So I hope this exercise was helpful. Please let me know in the comments or the DMs. I really believe that we all have something special to offer. And sometimes we need to remind ourselves and each other. Okay. So, excuse me. I'm going to take a drink of tea. So, let me know what you thought of this exercise. And we will continue on another time with this exercise. But I think for now, you have enough to get started, to start that folder, and to remind yourself to pat yourself on your back. Okay. And remember, it's whatever it takes Wednesday. So we all know that we should be doing whatever it takes every day, right? But it all starts with you, your happiness, your health, you building wealth. And when I think truly it's when we don't do enough of that, when we're not focused on, as I would say, giving ourselves what we need. Maybe we need, 15 minutes in the morning to meditate, or 15 minutes in the morning to do Ho'oponopono, which is a ritual I love to do. I do that every morning. I'll have to do another to do a separate session on that. I've written posts about it, but it's a very great ritual. I like rituals. I like consistency, so I tend to build rituals into my daily life. They bring me peace, and actually also help with confidence, because I know I can count on that, and the consistency. I've not been one that likes to fly by the seat of my pants. That just has not been my um, has not been the strength of mine ever. I had a boss that flew by the seat of his pants, and I have to tell you, I was a bit envious sometimes, because I'd be like, how can he do that? But I realized that is really not my thing. So I am able to build that consistency, and, you know, uh, keep my confidence up and get through challenging times by having some rituals that I really love and cherish, kind of like traditions, so hopefully you can relate to that. All right. So I hope this assignment again was helpful to you. Let me know. And certainly, I'm open to any ideas about other topics, workshops, master classes. I'm definitely going to be doing a master class on sales, and I'd like to do some on the confidence building as well, because I feel that's something that sometimes gets in the way. And most important thing is, you all have something special and unique to offer. Don't forget that. Goodbye, everyone.